Hey, welcome back, friends. If you want to join the friends, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Today we're going to be coming in with a money-making video. I'm not exactly sure how profitable it's going to be, but it is going to be more profitable than it used to be because of this little item right here, Elemental Battle Staff. What we're going to be doing today is we are going to be making Molten Glass. If you didn't already know, the Lunar Spellbook does have a spell called Superglass Make. Essentially what that does is with level 77 magic, you do need 10 air runes, 6 fire runes, and 2 astral runes. It just makes an entire inventory of molten glass in your inventory. Molten glass is obviously used for crafting skill in order to make relatively cheap and relatively efficient crafting gains. And if you can't tell by that combination of runes, before the Elemental Battle Staff, there was no way of getting both fire and air runes from the same staff. So essentially you'd have to choose whether or not you would actually want to just save the fire runes or save the air runes. In general, it was better to save the fire runes ever since Polypore Staffs came out. So you would be essentially burning 10 air runes every single time that you were making the Super Glass Make. Which actually adds up to a decent amount of money over the long run. So we're going to be saving all that money and trying to make as much as possible. I do have in my bank, if you didn't already see, 10,000 soda ash as well as 10,000 buckets of sand. We're going to see exactly how fast we can make all of this. The way that I have it set up is I have my preset number 1. I have it set up so that I'm going to have the Elemental Battle Staff as well as anything else you would like to have on your person. I have it set up so that that will automatically be unbanked, as well as 13 buckets of sand and 13 soda ash. All you do once you have that preset set up is you click the number 1 or whichever button you have it set up to be, and it will get your inventory as well as your worn items out as quickly as possible. After that, all you do is, again, I have it set up so that I just have to click the button 1 again, and it will automatically do your entire inventory in one tick. Now, that being said, you do have to wait at least one tick before you start banking again, but realistically you could do this extremely quickly, and honestly all it costs is just the 2 astral runes. If you weren't already looking, just check my astral runes really quick. 4,114. Go ahead and click it one time. It only uses 2 astral runes, and you make an entire inventory of molten glass. Now there is some RNG in it. Sometimes makes 1 piece of molten glass and sometimes makes 2 pieces of molten glass. So that is one thing that I'm going to have to kind of take into account, is exactly how many molten glass I actually get from these 10,000. And on top of that, I do want to mention that the prices of all these items aren't actually that expensive. The soda ash, it did cost me 7 GP apiece for 10,000 of them. That was instant buying 10,000. Instant bought 10,000 buckets of sand. That's 1 million GP. This is, or reason why I'm doing 10,000 is just because that is the GE buy limit for buckets of sand as well as soda ash. And then astral runes, because you only use 2 per inventory of 13, the math ends up to be about 1,550. So I did just 1,600, 500k in cost. All in all, total cost is going to be just over 1.5 million GP if you want to make 10,000 all in one go. Obviously, you could split this up into sections of 1,000. You don't have to buy 10,000 all in one go. I am going to go ahead and figure out the rates of all this, and if it seems to be a good GP per hour, I may do all 10,000 of them. So the best method of doing this is to position your mouse over the banker. This is going to be not moving at all. If you can use number keys, it will make it so that you don't accidentally move the mouse around at all if you do with left clicking. If you do have a laptop, obviously this is not a problem. You should just have a mouse click that should not move the mouse around at all, because unless you have it attached to your keypad or your trackpad, you shouldn't be moving the mouse around at all if you are clicking the left mouse button. The other thing you're going to want to do is obviously have it set up for your inventory to automatically withdraw from the bank. And then you just alternate between clicking on the left click or whatever you choose to do that is equivalent of left clicking whenever you need to bank. As soon as you are able to, I just personally spam that button, and then it will get into the bank as soon as you can. Then you hit the number 1 button or the number 2 button, whichever one you prefer. And then because we have it set up on our action bar down at the bottom, you want to set it up for the same number that you are withdrawing from the bank. So you just spam that button until you make the glass, and then again just go back to clicking the left mouse button or whatever you have set up. One thing that I didn't do in this guide that would make it a slightly more efficient is to actually use a rune pouch. Rune pouch is going to be a way of actually putting the astral runes into the rune pouch. It makes it so that you can actually equip the astral runes essentially. You're going to want to put as many astral runes as you can, or as many as you need to make the amount of glass that you want. It just saves you 1 inventory space, which actually makes it so that you can make 14 instead of 13 glass per inventory. Obviously with 30% it does add up to about 18 pieces of glass per inventory. It saves you a couple of astral runes, and it does increase the speed by about 8-9% on top of what I was doing. I did do it quickly enough that I was getting about 10,000 molten glass per hour. You could get about 11,000 with that method, increasing the speed a little bit. But honestly, with 10,000 being the limit anyway, doing 10,000 in 1 hour, probably not too bad. So we just finished up making 10,000 molten glass. Obviously you can see that I have much more than 10,000, I have 13,000 molten glass. They do give you an additional about 30% by using the Superglass make, so it's definitely worth using the Superglass make instead of obviously a furnace. It's much faster. Only downside is you do not get a bucket back. So it did reduce the amount of money that I made a decent amount, but it's so much faster. I actually made all 10,000 of these within 1 hour. I believe that if I was doing it efficiently, I could have saved a little bit extra time, maybe done it within 50 minutes, but with buying and selling, it's going to take you about an hour to make all 10,000 of these. You can only obviously do 10,000 per 4 hours because of the GE buy limit. So you are looking at doing this 1 hour every single 4 hours, but if we look at the prices that we got 3.65 million GP from the molten glass. It's not bad. I was hoping for a little bit more, but it's not a bad price. We did obviously spend 500,000 on astral runes, about 1 million on buckets of sand, and 75,000 on soda ash. That leaves our hourly profit about 2.1 million GP per hour. It's not horrible, and honestly, if you guys didn't already know, the method wasn't actually that bad. I was just watching YouTube videos while doing it. This is not a bad method of making 2 million GP per hour at a relatively low level. All you need to do is have Lunar Diplomacy unlocked, as well as 77 Magic, which is relatively easy to get. Obviously, it does require you to have the Elemental Battle Staff, which does have a little bit of a cost. It does cost you about 2 million to get the Elemental Battle Staff to start out with. But not really high requirements, and if you have the 2 mil to buy the Elemental Battle Staff, you can make a reliable 2 million GP per hour. There are better methods of making money in the game, but this is going to be a relatively good method. If you do ever see the price of molten glass starting to go up, then this is going to be an extremely good money-making method. The price of all these items are very, very unlikely to go up almost at all. Astral runes may fluctuate a little bit, but buckets of sand, people get so many of them from Burt every single day. I'm sure there's bots that do that. And soda ash, you get so many from Priffendis thieving that I don't ever see any of these prices going up in price that much. So if something new comes out that uses molten glass, this is going to be an extremely good money-making method. I probably will remake this video again if that does happen. But until then, go ahead and make as much money as you can off of this, and hopefully you enjoy. If you do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. I'd love it if you leave a like and a comment as well. As always, though, have a good one.